Missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart. How much you miss it. And you deserve. And you deserve. And you deserve. And you did right from the start. And you did right from the start. Missing someone is as normal. Missing someone and missing someone is as normal. Missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart. Missing someone. Normal. I am sad and so low. I am sad and so low. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. life ain't a ding dong. If I could take you up in boom 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 boom, tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Life could be a dream. Ain't a ding dong. Plans would come true. Ain't a ding dong. And my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hoping we'll meet again. Oh, life ain't a ding dong. A-lang, a-lang, a-lang. Boom, ba-do, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ain't a ding dong. A-lang, a-lang, a-lang. Boom, ba-do, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Oh, life ain't a ding dong. If I could take you up in boom, 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 tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hoping we'll meet again. Oh, life could be a dream. Ain't a ding dong. Plans would come true. Ain't a ding dong. And my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Now every time I look at you, something is on my mind. If you do what I want you to, baby, we'd be so fine. Oh, life ain't a ding dong. If I could take you up in boom boom boom, tell me I'm the only one that you love. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Life could be a dream. Ain't a ding dong. Plans would come true. Ain't a ding dong. And my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hoping we'll meet again. Oh, life could be a dream. Ain't a ding dong. Plans would come true. Ain't a ding dong. And my whole life loving you. Life could be a dream, sweetheart. Okay.
Faithful and brave.
Okay.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Contenders League, where tonight we have Crowned Esports facing off versus Vengeance Gold. My name is Austin Visions Neal. Joined with me on the cast tonight is Jordan Switch Estrada. And Switch, we got a big week for both of these teams to start getting the ball rolling here in towards week number 3 here and try and climb back towards the top.
Yeah, absolutely, Visions. And we are into week 3 already, and both these teams not out to the best start that they would hope, I'm sure. But I mean, this is really the time when you want to pick up steam. You're getting towards that middle ground where all the teams are going to settle into their respective groups. And for both of these teams, I think you want to find yourself into the middle of that pack. It's an 8-team group rather. So if you're in the top 4, you do proceed to the playoffs. And right now, both of these teams, like I said, not the best of us. Star Crown Esports did get 0-2'd by UMCP in week 1, but then 2-0'd Lakeside Gaming in week 2. And Vengeance, well, they're actually just 0-4 at this point. 0-2, rather, in terms of series. But I'm sure they're both really looking to get a win here. So we'll have to see how this pick and ban shapes up.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be about here, trying to get that win on the board for them. But we're already jumping in towards the bans. Lots of champions already taken off the table here. Looks like we're going to have that Sejuani, the Lux, and the Karthus banned away. And then in response, we're going to get that Rek'Sai definitely targeted over there at the jungler, as that's been one of his main champions he's been playing. But they're going to follow that up there with the Morgana and the Aurelia.
Yeah, and one thing that speaks out to me right now is Aatrox is up right now. I love the state that Aatrox is in at the moment. You can see some tricky hovers come out. There you go. First pick Aatrox. I honestly, this is just so smart on this patch because there are few, if no counters to Aatrox at the moment. He gets out of lane perfectly fine because of his sustain. And then once you get to those skirmishes, if you're able to execute good flanking, if you're able to get into the middle of the enemy team, you actually wreak havoc. And it's just so tough to deal with. But here's another interesting hover.
Yeah, another interesting one, but not gonna come through there for us. We've been hearing a lot about the Yumi move up, but look at that. We got a Sona turret coming out for game number 1 here, Switch.
Oh no, give me back the Yumi, give me it back. Man, that's gonna be tough to deal with. So I think if you are the side of sorry, blue, my brain's messing up here, but if you're on the side of blue, you definitely want to come out with an aggressive composition as a whole. You want to have sustain. You want to have engage, and of course you want to have a dominant bot lane. So what better to do with that Draven, as well as possibly securing your support here. Nautilus is very strong right now, has a great all in, but it looks like it's going to be the pipe.
Yeah, looks like that Pyke is going to get locked in, and that is a very terrifying lane. The Draven, the Pyke. You just think of that lane, and it automatically pops in your brain that is going to be a lot of damage coming through down towards that bot lane. And, the Taric and Sona need to be able to survive in that lane to be effective, and that's when they're able to start making their ways in towards the mid game. But the Draven and Pyke can certainly stop them from getting to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, just going to be rounding out the pick and ban for the side of Vengeance here. The final pick might just be the jungler, I would have to imagine. That is a solid pick in the first. Okay, that almost spooked me out there. But in the first pick phase, and that's going to be the Nautilus. You'd have to expect, though, that that's probably going to be either mid or just mid. And it happens.
That looks like
the best of us Visions.
Yeah, that probably wasn't the champion they ideally wanted to actually come through there and lock in for themselves. As we are just going to confirm to see what actually happened.
It's
like mid did lag out there, so not is supposed to be Kindred. So you were right; it was going to be their job.
Okay, well, either way, Kindred. That's an interesting pick. When you have the Sona Taric, that doesn't actually speak out to me as having pressure in the early game. And if you're Kindred and your stacks are on that bot side, having the Sona Taric is going to do you no favors at all. Like, you're probably going to have to be clutching a teddy bear going into the enemy jungle, or you just give up a couple stacks if they happen to spawn on the bot side.
Yeah, it kind of puts you in that difficult sort of situation where you want to be able to play very aggressive with a Kindred pick, and ideally you want they have the opportunity to be able to ban out some junglers, assuming that the Aatrox will of course be going towards that top side. So it does kind of just create that little bit of an interesting draft coming in for them so far. So we certainly have to assume that they're probably going to be looking at getting rid of some more of those aggressive champions so the Kindred can succeed, as well
Right.
as set the Kindred up with some aggressive picks in the solo lanes.
Right. So if I were the side of Vengeance Gold, I would actually start banning out mid because then
Hmm.
maybe you do get a chance to affect both sides of the map. If you lose in terms of mid pressure, I think Kindred just has a really difficult time trying to secure stacks as a whole.
Right.
I believe you yourself are a bit of a Kindred
A little
enthusiast,
bit.
no? A little bit, yeah. To me,
Dabble.
she's like a coin flip, you know? Like you either get the stacks and you get rolling, or you just don't. And I said it before, you're a glorified cannon minion if you're really behind on Kindred at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like the key thing is certainly getting those 4 stacks. That's when you're able to get the extra range. You become a lot more effective, and you obviously have so much more damage in towards your kit as well. So that's it's definitely a key part of it is getting a lot of your stacks. Now, I mean, she always does have that ultimate, which is always super effective, which is nice too to
Yeah,
have in that
yeah.
back pocket when they do go for that dive. So they're setting up the Kindred, the Stone, and the Tarek. So they have two of those ultimates that are going to be able to create invulnerability for a short amount of time. They're 2.5 seconds each, I believe. So it does get pretty scary when you think about this team that does want to kind of go for the dive like the Aatrox and the Pike.
Yeah, and actually, I'm glad you mentioned the Lambs for Spy. I almost forgot about it. As you can see, some bans coming out, and like I said, I'm hoping Vengeance Gold will point that towards the mid lane. But Rise,
Right.
solid flex as a whole. The Lambs Respite, that's actually going to be huge if, let's say, Crown Esports decides to go for a bot dive, because there's basically no damage that's going to come out Sonateric early, and it's really easy to dive them actually, especially pre-6. Like that's nutty easy.
Right.
The Lamb's Respite could perhaps save you if you do manage to hit 6, go down to that bot lane, try and save your bot laners. But I mean, either way, just not a lot of presence going to be coming out of that Sonateric lane. The next ban going to be Urgot taken out of the way. And I mean, I'm really not sure what the side of Vengeance Gold are going to play into this Aatrox. I have not yet seen any teams really come out with counters. If anything, I would say you're just praying to go even in lane and get a pick in that top lane that's going to have a similar impact once you get to those mid game skirmishes.
Yeah, 100% going to agree with you there, as we're going to be finishing up the second phase bans very quickly here. Just trying to take away some of those champions that can pull that trigger. I think the Jarvan's an excellent takeaway, like
Yeah.
we were mentioning, and now the Kennen coming through. So definitely some top lane pinches coming up to try and give the Aatrox the best lane possible and just let him take over and do Aatrox things. And that's just put out a lot of damage. And pretty much that's their whole draft here, for the side of Crowned Esports, as they've just been drafting so much. And that's going to be a Silas coming in.
All right. Well, Silas, he's in a fantastic state at the moment. I think he's super strong. And when you think about the ultimates that you could take away from the side of Crowned Esports, I think you have a very promising team fight for yourself. Xin Zhao as well, relatively good ultimate. But thinking about that Pike ultimate, thinking about that Aatrox ultimate, if you get rolling in a team fight, those can definitely help you seal the deal.
Yeah, it certainly can. As looking to match some of that aggression on towards Kindred there in the early games.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whoa.
definitely can do that, but that's gonna be a Cho'Gath coming through there for our last pick.
That is, and you got to think that perhaps now it's flexed between either the mid or the top. I think
Hmm.
Aatrox patches ago was being run in the mid lane, but it's hard to tell whether that was just because he was just outright busted and you could just flex him into whatever lane you wanted to. Uh, Way back in the day when he first got reworked, but it's going to be the Fiora as a response. And hey, split push might just be the way to go. Fiora hardly loses to anyone when she finally hits that core item spike for herself. I mean, there's really no one that can stand up to her mobility. She has the parry, and obviously her vital procs do take out percentage HP. So you have all that working for you towards the late game, and against a Cho'Gath as well. It looks like the Cho'Gath is going to be put into the top lane. So I actually think that's a favorable split coming for you if you are Vengeance Gold.
Yeah, I certainly like both of the ideas that they're coming to the table with here for game number 1. Argument's known for playing very aggressive, so I can certainly keep our eyes on him, as this man's going to be looking to find those kills. But I mean, Silas is able to go toe to toe, with those champions, find those crazy airplays, and like you already mentioned, the hijack is going to be able to help him secure lots of very strong ultimates in towards this game, and that's obviously huge for setting yourself up for looking for those team fights. It just makes you so much more versatile for being able to play aggressive, pull the trigger for your team, or sit back and wait to use the fear or use the ultimate from Pike and just be so much
Yeah.
more effective cleaning up.
Yeah,
So
there's
certainly like both compositions.
honestly, like down the line, like every ultimate would be
Yeah.
relatively good for Pike. I mean, for Silas to get like
Oh, for
just
sure.
like the worst one I would say is Shinzao, or possibly Cho'Gath is pretty good on him because he
Yeah,
has a
man.
lot of mobility too. Like you just got a buffet of ultimates to choose from. You're like, oh, should I take this one or that one? How do I want to defeat my opponents? But there you have it. The team compositions as a whole. If I look on the side of Crown Esports, I mean, you do have a good amount of engage. And the one thing that I will say about the Cho'Gath, I think that facilitates you being able to dive once you get to that mid game. Once Cho'Gath starts to get the stacks rolling, you just go ahead, tank up those towers. You got plenty of follow up to work with as well. Shinzao, Aatrox, as well as the Pike going to be going onto the side of Sonatek, going to be trying to press the issue. And hopefully they actually control the early game as well. I think if Crown Esports fall behind, it's going to be very hard to dictate the
Yes.
pace of the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you there. It can be very difficult against this competition that just wants to pretty much 5-ball stack up, use the Sona heals, use the Tark heals, and just be so effective. And it's so impossible to dive onto them if you are behind, of
Oh
course,
yeah.
like we were talking about with the two invulnerabilities with the Lamb's Respite and the Cosmic Radiance. But for now,
Oh
guys, we are going to be giving a shout out to one of our sponsors before we throw it away to break. So we are going to be shouting out Scuttle Scrims. If you are looking for a way to find fast, reliable scrims for your team to practice against, then Scuttle Scrims is your new best friend. They are a reliable and easy application that allows you to quickly search for active teams of all ranks and skill levels that are looking for reliable practice partners. Just simply log in, search for your specified ranks, and just request a scrim. It is fairly easy. For more information, make sure you head over and visit scuttlescrims.com. But for now, guys, we're going to be throwing to a short little break, so make sure you do not touch that browser. You do not want to miss game number 1. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to jump onto the Rift for game number 1 for the Upsurge Contenders League. Crown Esports looking to see if they can secure themselves 2 wins, and Vengeance Gold looking to see if they can get themselves on the board. And right off the bat, we got a 5-man stack coming through right now for Crown Esports, looking for blood right away.
Oh, looks like they were just spotted out as they were trying to slide their way into that brush. So that might just be what broke up the band in the end. The Beatles are not together anymore. They're gonna have to go their separate ways. But I mean, a little observation: we actually do have Klepto Draven. We were talking about it earlier, and it actually makes so much sense, right? You're just gonna be free hitting the composition of that bot lane for the side of Vengeance Gold. So why not get some gold with that as well?
Absolutely, yes. Bone Skewer are going to land down towards the river there on Cammy, but not going to be able to follow anything up as they are just looking to see where everyone's going to be starting. Scarf Zone is going to get spotted on the top side, so they should have a strong idea that the Kindred will be starting on towards the red buff, as well as we have the Xin Zhao down towards the bot side starting on the red as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see the side of Crown Esports trying to get as much vision as possible, as much knowledge as possible to be able to react to this early game coming out from Vengeance Gold, and here we go.
Here we go, jumping into it. Gonna keep our eyes on these junglers, just looking into them a little bit there before the game. It seems like both of them do play that aggressive role for their team. You know, we do see Scarf Zone kind of play that more supportive role from time to time, but you know, is able to pull out those aggressive champions like the Lee Sins, like the Kindreds, and be very effective on the map. But with no pressure down towards the bot side here, as we assume Draven Pike down here applying so much, I have to see really very
Ooh, tragic when you just hook a little caster. But I mean, still, they're going to be hitting 2 first. They're going to be able to zone out the side of the Zone Attack, and Zone Attack as a whole, they really just have to bide their time. They just have to grit their teeth and deal with all this damage flying at them. And eventually, once you get into that mid game, the sustain is really the name of the game for Zone Attack. Just being able to wash off all of that poke like water. And here we go again, coming in.
Yeah, gonna force out a very early flash there. So we're gonna take advantage of Drive just moving in towards the line brush, and that's gonna be an early summoner no longer available for him. Land out down to the side though. Let's see if they can follow anything up. There's actually some decent trading going back over towards the Ravens right now, which is going decent for them, as obviously they just need to do their best to stay alive and go easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, cut to this top side now. It's just Cho'Gath, who I haven't seen in a while, but has been getting some fantastic buffs for himself. Rupture now on a 7-second flat cooldown. And that's even before you get cooldown reduction. Like when you finally actually get 40%, if you do get 40%, that you're gonna have it on like a 4-second cooldown. For an AoE knockup, that's actually nutty. Like I think a lot of people have been underestimating Cho'Gath as a whole, and I think if you can manage to have good positioning in team fights, it's gonna really work your magic. And what better composition than the one that we have over here? You have Xin Zhao, as well as Aatrox, going to be putting down good harass here. Here we go. Bot lane gang.
Coming down, going pretty aggressive, and now we're going to see Scarf make his way in. He's going to get undertowed and stunned up. Looks like a very early TP. Scarf's going to have to flash away. Follow-up TP coming. A little bit late. Rupture not going to land there. That's going to be a full-on 4v4. No one's going down. Low flash forward there, trying to find OBBE. Falls down. Double Rupture coming down. Seeing if they can get anything more. Ignite is thinking down a miss or not. He will be able to trade a 1-for-1. Make that a 2-for-1. That's going to be a solo kill to the mid lane switch. What is going on?
Oh, that was so close to disaster for the side of Crown Esports, but they managed to take a suboptimal trade to the bot lane, but that's all evened out by arguments in the mid lane. Straight up solo killing Derive, and already what an explosive game. You can see the TP felt a little premature, and you can no longer cancel TP, so just had to play with what they had. Side of Vengeance Gold and Crown Esports both coming out swinging, and they're still just about even in this game. But I mean, Draven, he did get a little bit of a cash out there.
That's correct, he did, and that's what matters. Scarf Zone, maybe has some trouble. Does not have the flash. Ignite's ticking down. They're going to see if they can go aggressive, but it looks like the Ignite's not going to be able to finish him off. Argument's trying to find the last few. He gets him with the W, though. Beautiful snipe from him, and now he's going to be looking for that 1v1 war cry. Going to be able to enter in towards the fight, stun him up with the undertow, and double kill coming through for Argument as he finds himself 3 kills early on in this game.
Man, Arguments, this guy is a nut, just putting on such a performance on the Aatrox. So strong in this patch, and even more than just Aatrox's strength right now. I think he has so much skill expression. I mean, you can see it there. If you actually manage to land your Qs, you get so much healing back. If you weave in your autos as well, you get more healing than you did in previous patches. And you can see it coming through for the side for Arguments. And what fantastic play coming out of him. Already 3-0, 300 gold bounty, but starting out with a Phage, and it looks like it's going to be the boots as well as that longsword. Fantastic start for him.
Yeah, that is exactly how you want to be able to get this game rolling for himself. Also has himself pretty much a one full level lead over top of the ride. So just finding those early advantages is certainly going a long way. Gonna get pulled in, gonna get chunked out a little bit here, and right now, you know, we have to keep our eyes on both of these junglers. They've been looking to make those plays very aggressive, but it's been the laners, and you know, now talking to laners, Arguments is in a situation he's just gonna be able to start taking over Derive, and it's gonna be very difficult for him to deal with all this damage. When you XP down, falling behind an item too, I mean, this can get very scary.
Right, I mean, let's look at the context here. Silas is a melee champion, so if you're not able to go in, what are you able to do? It's not like you can poke from a distance like a Lux or like a Zerath or anything like that. Like, you are basically not going to be doing a lot in terms of the 1v1 of this lane. You might just be bleeding pressure as well, and let's wrap it all the way back to what the side of Vengeance Gold are trying to do. They're just trying to bide their time as Crown Esports are trying to dictate the pace of the game, and I think this is a fabulous start for them.
That's exactly how you want it to go, and you can see again going aggressive. Just ran those crits, almost all three. But while that's happening, that's gonna be a very early Ocean Drag picked up here for Crown Esports. That is perfect for them. It's only 7 minutes in towards the game. Laning phase is gonna go on for quite a while here, and you'll be able to have that extra sustain here to keep their laners alive.
Just gonna augment their laning prowess that they're already coming out with, and I mean, right now, I would just love to see Arguments, yes, shove in these waves and go ahead and try and pressure the rest of the map, try and exert your force to make sure, for example, Kindred can't just walk around wherever she pleases, can't take the stacks that she needs to really start to thrive in the game, as well as maybe start to push this bot lane under a bit of pressure themselves. And you see a gank coming in here in the top lane.
Yep, gonna see if they can find it. Level 6 is available for Limitless, though. Good look to even get that. Actually does not have enough, but he's gonna be able to find that kill. Kindred's gonna be able to take advantage of something on the map there, affecting that Fiora lane. That's gonna be the first kill going over towards Scar.
Right, we talked about one of the win conditions for Vengeance Gold being that top lane. Eventually, start to outscale that Cho'Gath, and there's some nice gold for the Fiora to work with at the moment. And now Kindred actually able to take a stack as well around that top side. It's going to put her at just about 2 stacks. So, hey, you're halfway there.
Halfway there. Warcry goes in for a pretty aggressive trade. Wasn't able to find that Bone Skewer there. Decided to go on towards the Sona, as we did just see Xin Zhao come down towards the bot side and see if he can open things up for himself. And like you mentioned, now the Kindred's going to be able to do exactly what she wants. Move towards the top, towards the 9 camps here. But look in the mid lane here. This could be the play that we talked about. Going to try and take the World Ender to try and get away. He's going to have to flash. Scarf doing what he can, but man, he is under Derive under so much pressure right now with what's going on. No longer has a summoner, behind in gold, and 3 kills over towards his opposing lane.
Yeah, and I like the positioning of OBV as a whole. Just making sure that he can keep this mid lane down, through the flash from Derive, and that's going to mean good things in the future for this lane with Arguments on the Aatrox. We did see a blue steal come in for Scarf Zone, so he's trying to take as much as he can at the moment.
Everything he possibly can to keep this in a favorable matchup. He does have that warrior completed, and looks like they're going to be collapsing on towards his blue buff. And this should just be going over. It's going to be secured. Probably looking to actually try and make a play. Both here are going to go wide. Undertow going to get Warcry out there for now. So looks like everyone's going to opt in for that disengage. Not looking for that fight just yet, but able to at least trade the blue for themselves.
Yeah, don't know if Vengeance Gold really wants to take a skirmish with Arguments that strong, that ahead of Derive on the Silas. More folks going down. I will say, here comes a gank, actually.
Yeah, Flash Persona able to find it even after the flash coming out, and that should be a kill. Going over towards Scarf Zone, picking up 2. He's starting to make plays on the map, and this is exactly what you want to see from Vengeance Gold. They have a 1K goal lead. They have a competition that's going to scale up here, so starting to find the early plays that's going in their favor.
Yeah, that was a very smart move. Working with the Crescendo, you get the lockdown and you get the damage down onto that single target. That's going to mean Eilish Mu also losing those stacks on the Draven. So very good win for them. Might get more in return though. Okami.
Some trouble. Bonskier has to dodge it, does not. Undertow is going to follow it up. Cosmic Radiance coming down, and that's not even going to matter. The death from below, able to find that kill. That will be a nice trade kill back over towards the bottom.
Right, that Pike ultimate going to be sharing the gold with OBV, so some good stuff to be had there in the bot lane for Crown Esports. This top lane, though, still going blow for blow at the moment. Man, Cho'Gath is just, you don't expect it, but he has so much damage.
Yeah, man, and usually that matchup really shouldn't go their way, especially with the Fiora, it already has that kill, so I mean,
right.
I would say Linwood's doing an excellent job down towards the bot side, though. Almost finding it in lane. Derive trying to trade back and forth with arguments, but he's got 5 conquer stacks now. You can't go toe-to-toe with him anymore, and see you later. Derive is gonna fall yet again for the 3rd death of the game. As bot lane potentially in some trouble here. Undertow gonna find this gun, looking to use Whirling Jet to find that kill. That will be Mary going down there. Kami in some trouble of his own with still 3 members, looking to see if they can find the 2nd kill. There's not too much of a wave, so they might be able to keep himself, or might be able to keep himself alive for the time being, but they still are looking pressure on him.
Yeah, and Scarf Zone actually going way deep into the side of Blue's jungle, and OBV trying to find a kill is not going to make it. That might just be the tower. If not the TP first coming out, I don't even know if he wants it.
That's going to be the engage, though, looking for Fiora to find that. Able to use a beautiful repulse, and now that's 1 going down, 2 going down, looking to make it 3. They turn the fight around, and now you are in a bad situation, Limitless. You will fall as well, and they will quickly clean up 4 members of Crown Esports.
And that is a nuts gold swing in favor of Vengeance Gold. They take the dragon as well. That's going to be the Mountain Drake, as well as this bot tower, even right before the end of their tier 1 tower. This is going to mean they get the first brick gold as well. Just such a huge gold swing, and what a turnaround. Pulling off 2 TPs, the Fiora, as well as Derive on the Silas, coming in behind and just making quick work of that 3-man from Crown Esports.
Yeah, and Derive was 0-3 there just about a minute ago, and now he's sitting on a 300 gold bounty. So obviously, that's got to feel pretty good, getting destroyed in lane, but just one TP play just goes to show you, what you can do, just making those drone plays, especially on the champion of Silas. So once he gets rolling, he will be able to go toe-to-toe against arguments, but, he is still sitting on 4 kills, and he's actually taking away the red buff right now, as this man, still showing his dominance in a very healthy spot in towards this game.
Yeah, I mean, from 3-0 down to 4-0, it's just linearly increasing his lead gradually as a whole. But Derive coming back, I mean, he wasn't playing League of Legends before he got those 3 kills. I think now he's going to be able to interact with the game as a whole. So looking forward to seeing that. This bot tower is finally going to be going down. Harry, I'm going to be working against the hook, so just gold over to Draven.
Gold over towards the champion again that you want to get snowballing. Has that flush first to complete as well. Stopwatch still pretty aggressive play. Scarf did end up cleaning up another mark for him. I believe that was number 4, and it was. So this is where Scarf is going to start snowballing. He's also sitting on that warrior, has that completed ninja tab. He's probably working towards what I would assume would be Black Cleaver here. So he's going to be feeling pretty good about how this game's been going for himself, because once this composition comes together, it is going to get so scary. Because how are they going to be able to find these kills with so much dive from the from the Xinjiao, from these Aatrox, from the Pike? It just takes one of those abilities used correctly. What to do is so difficult to find.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see a lot of pressure exerted onto his top side. I think they might have just found Limitless.
He is in a tough situation. Does have the flash available, and now OBV looking to follow it up. Cosmic Radiance going to come down. No one following just yet. Contenders going to go down. Wait for the Pike. He got death from below. That's going to be 1 used, but a beautiful Lance Respite is going to stop them from going down right away. But Arguments is joining the fight. He has the big damage, and now 2 members go down. Looks like it could be 3. Ogami gets stopped around on the map, and they're going to be able to find quick 3 kills in exchange up towards the top side of the map.
And that's just a clean 5v4 coming in. You saw all the invulnerabilities trying to save the side of Vengeance Gold, but in the end, they're at a man disadvantage, and due to that TP play in the bot lane, now Not or Moonot trying to get some damage onto his bot tower. I think he's going to have to be shoved out lane now. Limitless is walking him home.
Going to try and do his best there. Still go toe-to-toe with that Fiora, who will scale up very nicely. Going pretty aggressive now in towards that mid lane, as he does have a few items under his belt now, working his way back up to where he was trying to get to at the beginning of the game. Dropping the lane in the bot side here.
Oh man,
that beast gonna come down. Unot's not gonna be able to correctly time that, and because of that, he's gonna get forced out of lane, but still gonna be able to at least put some chip damage down towards that tier 2 in the bot side.
His split push is absolutely not going in favor of Moon, not yet. And probably eventually when you get those items in your pocket. The Triforce being worked on at the moment, and then you have your choice what to go after that. I mean, in general, the percentage HP damage will start kicking in against the Cho'Gath, but for now, still losing to those base damages at the moment, and it's going to be a rough time as a whole for Munat at the moment. You can see these teams both going blow for blow. That play in the top side, I actually just think it was a brain fart coming out from the side of Vengeance Gold. Like, it was actually a really good catch from their part, but I think they just forgot that they were at a man disadvantage. No TP. Argument's going to pop the ultimate, and that's going to mean his safety in the top lane.
Gonna have to use that World Ender to get himself out of that gang coming through from Scarf Zone. They're actually flash forward now, and there is a flash in return from Arguments. I think it's going to be A-OK here. So Scarf Zone, even little BM coming out there, and because of that play towards the top side, they're looking to make an aggressive play in towards the mid lane here. Ryan can be able to chunk down one leg move though to pretty much half HP, but Engage could come out. OBB not able to find that knockup just yet, and now the ultimate is going to be stolen here. Whirling, trying to see if they can find that kill. Still just chunking them out and poking them down, but now the flash engage there with the crescendo, able to find one, but it will be at the cost of Stoner's life. She'll stay alive, but the cost is radiance for now. OBB would have to use the crescent to keep himself up and alive. Right, could be the target. Flash forward, that's going to be the shutdown coming out there. Yet another one going down. A beautiful snipe onto OBB. He will fall. Double kill going over towards the Rive as he cleans up 5 for himself.
And that's just not enough respect coming out of Crown Esports to try and take a skirmish when they don't have the numbers to back it up, and that might just be the second mountain going over for the side of Vengeance Gold. Bringing down some good damage. There's the boost.
There it is, coming down, trying to find that, but you're not taking quite a bit of damage in return. He's ignited, but he flashes forwards and gets the shutdown for him. It will be yet another 1-for-1 trade, but that was a lot of gold in the pocket of Munat there. We'll be able to start cashing out on some of those items, getting closer and closer to that Triforce.
Yeah, the shutdown, the real victory there, as well as getting Arguments off the map. That's surely going to mean Mountain Drake given over, as well as the Siege might be coming in for the side of Vengeance Gold, but too premature for that one. I mean, they have a lot of gold in their pocket at the moment, so why not just buy? You can take the game at your pace. Like we said, the sustain coming out from Sonar Attack, that'll kick in very soon, and as long as you can start to disengage these team fights, utilize the vulnerabilities in your composition, I think you're going to have a fantastic time in team fights.
Yeah, it's very likely. You know, in Switch, we talked about, you know, this team here, Crown Esports. They need to find those early leads and kind of push their advantages and basically create a snowball. But if we look at the goalie right now, we see that in favor right now of Vengeance Gold. And like you just said, it's going to be very soon to when they start grouping up as the 5-man death ball, and it becomes very impossible to try and find engages on unless they can blow up those targets before one of those invulnerabilities go down. So it gets very scary for them, especially when they start playing around these more important objectives like the Baron with 2 Mountain Dragons in their pocket. So they're going to be able to start shredding objectives when they look to start sieging or going for the new system.
Right, and like the team fight that you want to see coming out for the side of Crown Esports is, I guess you have to nuke down one member so that if you can get past all those vulnerabilities, you're still at a mana advantage. If you cannot nuke down one member, they manage to utilize those vulnerabilities like the Cosmic Radiance, like the Lamb's Respite, and they fight you 5v5. I think they might just come out ahead just due to the fact that they have fantastic stall. They keep disengaging, they keep healing, have the mobility coming in with the Sona as well as a nice setup from OBB.
Uh-oh, Derive in some trouble, able to steal the Crescent to try and neglect some of this damage. He'll go golden for a second, does have a pretty big bouncy over his head, and this might just go over. Lamb's Respite, perfectly used, but will it be enough to get him out? Looking for the re-engage coming down, Cosmic Radiance coming down, he's gonna be able to stay alive! Derive! He's looking maybe to try and get him out, finally gets taken down, shut down, going over towards Limitless, but the fight is still on. Okami is in the middle of it all. He will go down, it will be a 2-for-1, this time in favor of Crown Esports.
And again, we're seeing Crown Esports come out with everything. They pull the entire 5-man, while on the other side, the side of Vengeance Gold, they're playing towards the split push. They're losing the team fights, but took another tower in that bot lane. Here's the response coming out from Cho'Gath. Limitless in the bot lane, as well as the Siege in the top. I think overall, you'll take it if you're on the side of Crown Esports. And there's a grand challenge.
just gonna stop it, but he's still gonna find the kill. It should be at the trade kill coming through there for OBV, as he'll be able to at least make it for a 1-for-1. But this is where the Fiora starts to come online. She has the 2 item spike now. The Triforce just locked in for her, and now she's getting closer and closer to that level 16. That's when she will start to take over the side lanes, and she still has a teleport if they decide to play around that Baron now.
That's absolutely right. And I mean, on the other hand, Crown Esports, like, as long as the gold keeps moving around, keeps getting thrown to both sides, whether that be through towers or through skirmishes, I think you'll take that. You're trying to accelerate the game as much as possible so that you don't hit this point where you start to get walled off by the disengages, by the immunities coming out from the side of Vengeance Gold. And Vengeance Gold, I think they really just need to slow down the game as a whole, make sure their structures stay alive. Make sure they just make this a farm fest and reach that point where you just can no longer be bursted down. And I think once you get towards that late game, the only real target that you could start to take advantage of is Katamari on the Sona. Here comes Warcry, actually.
Oh yeah, Warcry. He's a pretty slippery champion, but he's going to use that undertow. Now he's pretty much stuck in the pit for the time being, but the re-engage coming in for OBB. Now it's going to be invulnerability coming down to keep them alive for the time being. Lamb's fight was already used, looking for the crescendo. No one going. Finally, Derive's going to be able to find one. Make that 2 there with the death from below, finding himself a double, and now they're on the hunt, on the chase. World Ender was used by arguments, but that will quickly wear off, and they could look to go for that chase, or they could just look to run over towards that Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I like Moo on the bot side, just recalled now, so he's super behind in tempo. There's the TP coming out from him, and it's going to be a response from Crown Esports, but are they going to be able to save this? Remember, you have the Cosmos Radiance still available for the side of Vengeance Gold. You go Moo not.
Challenge going to be you there. Now trying to find that Ignite. He's going to be ticking down on towards him, trying to see if he can find that. The rest of the team looking to back him up. Cosmos Radiance coming down, and now he knows he can go online. He can go aggressive. Fails the Q over the wall, but still on the chase. Scarfstone should be able to find this kill, setting up Moo not there, so that should be another kill for him. 5th of the game. Derive looking onto one leg Moo. He has just got nowhere to go. He's still kiting though pretty well, but will it be enough? I don't think it is. Rest of the team need to back him up. He goes golden for a quick moment, and now the turnaround coming up. Moo might will go down, looking for more. They're going to see if they can find one. Will be another great kill. That's still one leg Moo staying alive. Limitless is going to be the target for now. They're under the turret though, trying to fight. Flash forward from Derive. He will find the shutdown under Draven, as this is just a long extended fight, which will result in so many kills going back and forth.
And both mid laners just trying to put the games on their backs at this point. The early game was arguments. Now it's just Derive having his way in these team fights. The Silas pick is so strong. Here we go again.
The turret, though, the undertow did stun him up. He's going to go golden, so that will reset the aggro. He does have the death from below, but does not want to opt into using it and risking his life. So they're going to be able to, at the end of it, get away with a lot of kills and at least secure themselves one objective in towards the mid.
Right, mid tower secured, as well as that team fight going in favor of Vengeance Gold. That means that they get to increase their lead even more. Just about 2.5 gold leads separating the two teams in favor of Vengeance Gold at the moment. Cloud Drake on the table, but looking behind in tempo from Vengeance Gold. Perhaps they'll have to go in the way of Crown Esports.
Looks like this Air Dragon is going to be started up. They might be able to take away their second Elemental Drake going over towards Crown Esports, and it will be secured. So able to at least take it away from the side of Vengeance Gold. That was really the goal with that, as they look to start clearing up the pink cords around the Baron Nashor. And that's really what we have to talk about now. This is what both of these teams are going to start fighting over, and there's still quite a few turrets left on the map of the Fiora. Lunat has the TP towards the bot side. There is only that one more turret in front of that meter, and it gets very scary there if that Fiora gets to stay down there within one match.
Right, this is definitely in favor of Vengeance Gold at the moment. The Fiora split push would be knocking at the door that inhibitor, and if you spend too much time clearing out all this vision, if you just lose too much of a headway in that bot lane, you give Fiora a little bit too much room, and once you start to get pressured, once you start to get pulled around by the split push, that's sort of when you start losing the macro game. You're caught between a rock and a hard place, and going to be some very decisive calls coming out for the side of Crown Esports if they want to be able to manage to play around this drag. Sorry, there.
And with, those two mounds, like you're saying, like, it just becomes, you can't really calculate the damage very well. And with, as a jungler on the opposite side of the team, you want to always be able to look for those steals, but it's hard to calculate it. They're going to go for an engage. Sparkstone is going to be a target of focus, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to follow anything up there. Just the bones here in towards a bit of poke damage. So we've been on the top side there. They still have that turret to go for up there, so really would like to see them look for that siege, as that's what the Sonatark are really good at doing. With the range 80 carry in the jungle, just look to start sieging and taking those free objectives around the map, while keeping most of the members up towards the top side, so you can still play around that Baron. We'll have to see really what they opt into at the moment. Fiora is making her way back towards that bot side and does have that Bramble Vesh and working towards her next level here. Very scary. She's almost close to level 16 as well.
Right, the Bramble Vesh, an interesting pickup, but I guess to make sure Cho'Gath cannot sustain, and once you finally get into the skirmishes, making sure both Arguments and I Like Moo on the Aatrox and Draven cannot sustain as well, and as long as you can make sure to win that sustained war, you will definitely thrive in team fights. Overall, like, Vengeance Esports, I think they're playing their composition very well. You're maintaining that bot lane split push, but okay, here we go.
Yes, if you want to put spot back, great challenge comes out. She is 1v2. Look at the damage. Rupture goes wide. Lunat is still fighting back and forth right now, as she has a 2-level advantage over top of Limitless. And with that being said, she has so much pressure on the bot side, they're going to start up the Baron.
Yeah, I don't even know if you back here as Lunat, you keep up the pressure. Well, you have the TP available as well, and maybe you just go for the 5-man onto the Baron. You see it being burned down, but here we go, Derive.
Guard to be used to try and neglect some of that damage. Undertow will stun him up. TP now coming through from the Fiora, looking to just converge on towards the Baron. They are 5 members strong. Arguments does not have the teleport, but Derive looking for the 1v2 in the top side, trying to see if he can find anything. Has to wait for the cooldown to come back up. Baron has 7k HP. This is a very intense moment, but they are looking to burn it down. They have turned all their focus on towards it. It will be secured, and now the crescendo will find the double. They're already able to secure 1 kill. The Cosmic Radiance is dropped. The slow is gonna land onto OBB. You got nowhere to go. A double kill coming up for Katamari. Maybe looking for the triple. Scarf will secure that for himself as they take control and find 3 kills in the Baron.
And what an absolute steamroll from the side of Vengeance Gold. They play their composition perfectly. Go for the 5-man death ball around the Baron. They have the sustain to work with as well. And once you finally find your first kill, you can just go ahead, utilize that zone of movement speed, and just take over the rest of the fight. It's just looking so bad for the side of Crown Esports at the moment. From the fantastic early game that they had, they've just been snuffed out completely. Once you get to the mid game, you can see the hesitation. Every time they try to look for a pick, it's just, is there going to be an invulnerability? Are we going to be baited into a bad team fight like the last 2 times? Like, it's so hard to play against this composition, and props to the side of Vengeance Gold. They are playing controlled. They are making sure to utilize their ultimates at the proper times, and they already have a Baron. Took 2 towers as well, going back for another reset. Just be heading over to that pod side for the Dragon.
Yeah, that Ocean Dragon will be coming up, but I mean, this has just got to feel so good for Vengeance Gold. You're sitting 0-2. I believe they haven't secured themselves a map, if I'm not mistaken. And that just got to feel so good right now. You're in the driver's seat. You have yourself a very big goal at this point in time, just over 8k. You're looking to move towards cleaning up this Ocean Dragon and then looking to break open the base. So this is probably the first time in a while that they've actually, felt in control of a game and being able to take it, as we see quite a few members just kind of waiting for that push down towards the bot side. You have to be wary because Baron obviously still alive, but they are just going to take that.
Super smart. They know Vengeance Gold wants to go for the split push. Here's Fiora.
There. They're all looking to collapse, but she's going to be able to actually get herself out, and this is not looking good. A team fight about to break out, looking for it. Bobby Brady's going to come down, keeping everyone alive. No one going just yet. Lots of low health bars. Crescendo going to be... Zanya's there. As the Lantern Spike's going to be used. Scarfstone staying alive. Death from below is going to be used, but everyone is just so low. Finally, the kills are going down. Vengeance Gold have everything they need. It's just one Ligmo left alive, but it doesn't matter. The flash from Dark will secure it. They aced them. They have the Baron in Switch. This should be game number 1.
Oh, it looks like it's gonna be Vengeance Gold. Every time you think you have them, every time you think you have the pick, nope, Cosmic Radiance comes down. You get the Lancer's fight as well. You get sucked into a 5v5. And that's when it's all over for you. Look at them right now. Almost full HP on all of the members. It's just so hard to deal with the durability, and Phantom pick and ban, and Vengeance Gold, they take game 1.
Take game 1 with the famous Sona Terran, able to make it work for them. It's very likely we could have a ban targeted towards one of those picks heading into game number 2. But I mean, overall, that just looked like a totally different team. That did not look like a team that's sitting 0-2. They looked very strong, very coordinated, and they kept composure despite, arguments, sitting on that 4-0 one point, but ended up finishing 5-4-5. So able to shut him down. And really, I mean, Derive was able to come back and really just made the difference in that game.
Oh, Derive after an abysmal early game for him. Like you remember getting camped by OBV like in the jungle, like just a terrible early game, and to just come from the ashes of that early game and just fly out like a phoenix. Silas' play was on point, stealing the Pike ultimate at times, as well as that Draven ultimate, the Xin Zhao ultimate, just had so much control, both mid laners of those team fights. But I think when it really came down to it, Derive, despite his gold deficit, still came out on top.
Oh yeah, certainly came out on top, showed his dominance, and that's what kind of led to that game and led to why they snowballed it so hard after, that mid game kind of happened. Just the 5 group death ball with his own targets, obviously just so scary to deal with. And also, Munat, who was drawing tons of pressure, doing Fiora things on the sidelines, doing an excellent job, and really have to give it to everyone on that roster for keeping the composure to stay in it and coming out on top with that game number 1. But for now, guys, we're going to be throwing it to a short little break so that we can set up game number 2. So make sure you guys do not go anywhere. Do not want to miss game number 2. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Upsurge Contenders League. If you are just tuning in to the match, it was Vengeance Gold that are able to take that first win off of Crowned Esports. They're doing it in pretty much incredible fashion after that crazy team fight at the end that broke out. But Swish, we're into game number 2. Might see some bans as we already see them going down over towards that Sonateric. And well, there we have it. There is the dark ban.
There we go. The side of Crown Esports do not want another mishap like last game. And for what great work they put into the early game to just get snuffed out by a Sonateric, that's just disappointing. And listen, we actually saw great play from both sides, I would say. So to see both of these teams in the middle to lower part of the group as a whole, like that actually to me sort of speaks to the level of competition. Obviously in this specific group, but I think as a
For
whole
sure.
in this league, UCL, like the competition must be insanely good because especially Vengeance Gold, they looked like they knew exactly what to do at each moment of the game. They had patience. They didn't get discouraged by losing that top lane with the Fiora. They didn't get discouraged by arguments popping off on the Aatrox, and they managed to pull it back into the mid game. They had fantastic macro decision making as well. So here's hoping for another fantastic game. But of course, that is going to be the Aatrox as the first pick. Aatrox, such a nuisance on this patch.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw arguments pop off with it there in towards the early game, was sitting at that 4-0, found a couple of solo kills over towards the Rive, but in the end, it was not enough to carry out the game. So in response, it looks like we are going to be getting a Hecarim joining the table, going over towards OBV. So looking to change some things up there from the Zinzao from last game.
Right, and Aatrox now on Derive, and I gotta say, I did sort of feel like Derive came out on top for the deficit that he was put into to still come out swinging in that mid game to still pop off with the Silas. I'm hoping to see an even more impressive Aatrox game coming out for the side Derive, but that is going to be the Kaisa locked in for I Like Moo. Didn't hear too much of him in that last game. Was playing Draven in the Klepto versus the Sonateric, and I mean, just didn't get ahead in lane, and in the end. Okay, hold on, hold the phone. Visions, you see what I'm seeing, buddy?
I think so. I think we saw a little support pick just drop in there for us.
Ooh, that is one cat. Also Sivir, but that's not important. The cat's important.
Yes.
Yumi. And I will say, playing against Yumi, there's a reason why she actually has a really strong ban rate at the moment. She's just so tough to deal with. The healing sort of feels a bit overtuned once you get to that mid to late game. But the Q poke, really, it's brain dead easy when you're bound to your AD carry to land the Q poke. It actually does a decent amount of damage as well.
Yeah.
You just manage to outpoke the enemies. And when it comes to all ins, of course, you're Yumi. You're bound onto your AD carry, so you're not in much danger at all. And to be able to have good auto attack range, she just feels really strong right now. There were some nerfs lined up on the PvE. Those might be shipping out next week. But for now, we got to deal with Yumi, and it's going to be the Alistair in response for Crown Esports.
Yeah, and the Alistar obviously a great pick in towards the Sivir isn't able to spell shield both the
Right.
headbutt and the pulverize, so sets it up very well. And obviously with the Yumi that's going to be attached to the Sivir makes for a very good engage. But we're jumping in towards phase 2 bans here. We can already see that Kindred from last game going to be taken off the table, the Fiora as well. So just getting rid of a lot of champions that were played in towards that last game, and then looks like just like in the last draft, we're going to get that Rise ban coming through there for Vengeance.
That's right. And taking out the Fiora, that means you don't have that safety net of a split push to play around. And I think that was one of the saving graces after that tough early game that Vengeance Gold suffered. Eventually, they started to outscale in the split push. That meant you had to put more resources towards that Fiora, and that left an opening around the Baron. It was very tough to play around for the side of Crown Esports. And now we might just see actually the Ornn pick come out. I personally think that Ornn is slightly underrated. I think he's a great pick just because of the fact that he gives you really simple but effective engage with the Call of the Forge God, as well as that late game insurance. Being able to upgrade items on possibly your AD carry, maybe your carry mid laner as well. And Ornn, of course, benefiting from those as well, builds the Iceborne Gauntlet, builds the Sunfire Cape as well if he wants to, and those, of course, get upgraded as well. So his strength is definitely here this patch. I don't know if his win rate is showing it right now, but I think he's really strong.
Yeah,
Speaking of really strong, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Silas coming through for us again. It is going to be a repeat here, just like in the last game. They did ban away 3 champions played in the last game, but they did not ban this one away. And this was arguably one of the biggest ones. Survive, obviously, up to a rough start in towards that mid lane, but ended up turning things around very big for him. And, finished off with like 10 kills, was finding kills on towards the carries in almost every single team fight. But talking about aggressive picks, we're also going to get Elise in to match that here for Scarf Zone in towards the jungle.
So yeah, I'm probably gonna get flamed for this if the side of Crown Esports win, but why didn't they pick up the Silas here? Because you're picking your solo laners. They go for Ornn instead of Silas, but Silas can be flexed to the top and the mid. So that might have either been the fact that it can't be flexed in their specific team because of the champion pools, or they just decide to go for this different team comp, which it does have merit in its own right? You have that solid front line, you have the solid back line as well. So that looks really good once you finally get to that mid game. Once you get the core items on all your members, having the Ornn engage, having the Hecarim follow up, as well as that Alistar engage, and then just letting your Azir and Kai'Sa wail on whoever's caught out for the side of Vengeance Gold. It does look promising for Crown Esports.
Yeah, it does. I really like their composition. I think it's a little bit easier to execute on once we get to those 5v5 fights. It's going to be really big for Warcry to find those engages on Dissaver. That's really what it's going to be all about, because the Yumi's probably going to be on top of that 80 carry. It looks like they are going to be opting in for that teleport. It looks like Katamari might be taking that flash, which is usually something you don't see. Usually it's like the ignite and the exhaust, or like the heal and like exhaust, or something along those lines, because usually your flash just isn't relevant enough to do anything, because you're jumping from member to member, which is a little bit interesting heading into game number 2. But as I say that, I'm going to eat my own words, and she is going to switch to exhaust.
You got pranked, dude.
I did.
I think you do have some special words for our viewers, though.
I certainly do have a nice little sponsor shout out coming in for Kono here. So if you are looking to take your game to the next level, it all starts with your peripherals, from keyboards to keycaps, mice, and many more. Our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring some of the best gaming peripherals around. And they have been a huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. If you need to find a new keyboard and more for your setup, then make sure that you guys head over towards Kono there. That is KONO.store. So make sure you guys head over there if you need anything for some amazing products. But for now, guys, we're going to be throwing it to a short little break here for game number 2 to see who's going to be able to come out on top. Will it be Crown Esports forcing game number 3, or will it be Vengeance Gold closing out the 2-0 and cleaning up their first win of the season? You'll have to find out. We'll be back here in just a few short moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to jump onto the Rift for game number 2 here between Crowned Esports and Vengeance Gold as we break out on towards the map here. Looks like it is going to be another 5-man stack coming through here for the blue team, trying to see if they can find that early engage, that early pick here for Vengeance Gold.
Yep, and here we go, an invade already. Gerard leading the charge here as looks like Warcry just going to back off. Gonna lose this ward, but not the biggest of deals. We do have to point out, by the way, if you just saw it, that's actually Arcane Comet Yuumi.
Oh my god, it is. That's just like a guaranteed Comet hit, I swear, every time she hits that Q.
Honestly, because once the Q, I think, goes for like 1 second, it slows much harder.
Yep.
Arguments. We got a couple auto attacks. Ooh. There's a
slow.
slow.
And not able to follow anything up there, but just putting that early pressure on towards Arguments there. We had a stellar early game. Looking to see if he can do that here again in towards game number 2. Q not going to find anyone on the second wave. And I believe that Q does like 150 damage when that thing hits, which is pretty ridiculous because it's not too long of a cooldown realistically when you're in lane. You can get poked out, fairly easy, in towards that lane, especially as the Kai'Sa and the Alistar.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Alistar, huge model, so like he's gonna be soaking up those skill shots, but also like for how easy it is to land, I think that's what the frustration is. I know laning against it, it's like super hard to dodge because it just follows you. If the enemy AD carry actually knows how to position to give the Yuumi room to, let her Q fly around, like it's actually so brutal. And there's here we go. We're starting it up.
There's the excellent example of how it really goes in towards those Yuumi lanes. Drive going aggressive on towards Arguments there, with the Azir not being able to shift his soldiers around until level 2. Makes you a little bit vulnerable there. So he's trying to show that early aggression. Top side is going to be not trying to see if he can do that same thing like did last game, which was find the early lead, get the early ganks, and try and fly that to the side lanes. But the bat Limbless is going to take advantage of that. Tommy in some trouble over there. Actually taking pretty low exhaust. He's going to be forced out. W is going to be dodged, but man, lots of trading towards his bot lane very early on.
Yeah, and on the top side, we did see OBV position for a gank, but in the end it looks like it's going to be vertical jungling initiated from Scarf Zone, but it's going to be the response from OBV. They're both going to end up getting their second buffs, but Scarf Zone going to be hovering towards this bot side, while OBV will be dedicated towards the top side.
Over towards that top, so there means that not have to be very scary, but there is the engage down towards the bot side with the headbutt pulverized, but the gang coming through, looking to dive him. Early setup with the first one. Man. Beautifully well placed there from the jungle and top duo, and that will be a very early kill, but could be traded over towards mid lane. Flash forward to Ride might have just bitten off Willie Pikachu, but the Sonic will able to land, so at least able to make it a 1-for-1 towards the mid lane.
And fashionably late is Scarf Zone, but you'll take it. The 1-for-1 in that mid lane, but the top lane. Here's Warcry though.
Yuumi's gonna be able to jump to safety, but it doesn't matter. The ignite ticks down, and that will be a beautiful play from Warcry to be able to find that engage here. That will be big for them.
And something I didn't know before Yuumi actually got released was she does not drop turret aggro if she binds with an ally. She still holds it until she gets out of range. So soaking up 2 tower hits is going to mean Yuumi going down. That kill going over to Warcry on the Ouster, but still coming out ahead on this heavy poke lane is exactly what you want to see coming out for Vengeance Gold.
Oh, you're starting to
Crowned Esports.
Yeah, they're starting things off very hot here. 3 of their members have kills already there in their pocket, as we can see OBV kind of hovering around looking for that gank right now, and there would be no counter from Scarf Zone, but he does have that early kill under his belt. But
another
pulverized towards the bot side. Here comes Scarf though, looking to see if they can turn it. That's a flash forward. He is able to survive for the time being. Here comes the Sonic Wave, able to find it, looking for that first kill. Warcry does not have the flash, but one Lingmu does, and looks like they're just going to be able to just beat him down. Edamari's gonna be able to get that, and that will be a trade kill though over towards the top side. Munat will fall for the second time, but this fight is still on. The chase is still coming to Warcry. Will go down to Scarf as we get a 2-for-1 across the map.
Yeah, Scarf Zone just getting so much work done. Picks up that kill in the mid, and now a double into the bot. Routing towards the mid again. Here's the Rive.
Oh yeah, trying to put that aggression on. Arguments maybe in some trouble, but he is running towards his jungler, so we could have that 2v2. So
that lands.
going to land here now, looking for the re-engage, going on towards Scarf, but it's going to be Flash. He's going to take a lot of damage, has all 5 Conqueror stacks here.
No way.
Drive trying to see if he can guide his jungler out. Everybody going to stay alive, but Scarf barely making it out of that one.
Man, Scarf is looking fantastic on this Lee Sin. A nice counter gank coming in for OVV, and that does mean the safety coming out for arguments on the Azir, but as a whole, the strength coming out of Scarf Zone. He's super scary and already off to a 2-0-1 lead is going to mean the Tiamat startup that's going to accelerate your jungle clear, as well as when you finally get to gank, you do have that auto attack reset as well. So good things here in store for Scarf Zone. On the other side, though, you have a nice distribution of gold to kill, a piece on everyone, except, of course, the AD carry, you know? It's just the luck of an AD carry. You just don't get kills.
Yeah, just super unfortunate for those guys down towards the bottom side. Talking about unfortunate, that is a gank towards the top side. Munad's going to get stunned up. TP's going to come through there from the Sivir, actually, there. That's just giving up a lot of CS. And
whoa.
I don't think that was worth it.
I don't know about this one, Chief. That's one play you could expect perhaps a second one to be going down in favor of just, man, this looks like, what, Season 5, back when we lane swapped at, like, the 5-minute mark, but in this case, towers have not been taken out yet. It's just limitless. It's open up another one of those Yumi Qs, but honestly, as long as he's able to wave clear under tower, he's going to be ahead in tempo in terms of his team. Let's take it a bit more damage.
Yeah, so that was actually, I'm gonna have to hold that thought. That's gonna be a beautiful stream of shuffle, able to find the Sonic Wave, but the trade kill should come over. But the response with the hijack for stream of shuffle from Derive is gonna be able to respond, maybe with the kill. Ignite taking down on towards OBV.
You're kidding.
Looking for that, and that is just amazing, phenomenal plays coming out there from Scarf and from Derive. They're gonna be able to find that 2v2 kill for themselves.
Man, Derive is a god, jeez. This guy's 200 IQ steals the wall away from Azir, and that's going to mean the safety for Scarf Zone, as well as a kill to that mid again. And again, we still have like the pushes coming from both bot laners. Like, I mean, we don't see the side of Vengeance Gold deterred by the wave clear coming out from the Ornn. And on the other side, this really is a lane swap. Like, top lane is just trying to wave clear under tower.
Yeah, this is like rather interesting because the level 6 just came through there, so he did miss a lot of XP as I don't know where the Yumi just went into towards the abyss, but Scarf's actually going to make a play there, able to secure the level 6 the Dragon's Rage, going to use it, switch him right into Derive, and that is just going to be a beautiful kill coming in from this duel right now. Switch, they are just on fire, playing so synergized right now in towards the mid lane.
They are actually an insanely terrifying 2v2. Like, Derive and Scarf Zone are just putting this game on their back, and you can tell participating in 4 of the 5 kills at the moment, and it is paying off in dividends for themselves. And Derive, he's not even at that deficit that he was in game 1, and still on the Silas. I actually thought it would be the Aatrox going to be piloted by Derive, but in this case, still keeping the Silas. You do have some nice ultimates to work with as well. When you look at the enemy composition, you have the Killer Instinct, the Azir wall that we saw in the mid lane, as well as the Onslaught Shadows could prove to be quite fearsome once you get to those skirmishes.
Oh yeah, it certainly will be. I mean, they have a lot of dive. I think, once we get to those 5v5s like we were talking about in drafts, Limitless, able to set them up there with the Call of the Forge God, and then like you just mentioned, the Onslaught of Shadows following up the damage. They also have good disengage from arguments from the Lee Sin, from Derive if they get on towards that back line. So, they still do have a lot of tools to be very useful in towards this game. It's just they have to stop the beating really, and that's really looking at Derive, who's sitting on that 2 kills. We saw him pop off in the last game, but as I say that, might be him in some trouble. He did use the flash, but it was not effective. He's going to use the Onslaught of Shadows to get himself out to safety. And again, the hijack is going to be used perfectly there just to get himself out just in the nick of time.
Does this guy die? Well, I mean, clearly he does because he has a death on him. But what is with this guy? Is he smurfing or something? Derive is so good.
Yeah, this guy's playing very well, and looks like Scarf Zone going to respond again. Does not, or does have the Dragon Rage, but it's going to be the Flash Force out there from arguments. And just constant pressure towards this mid lane right now. Switch, so much attention being drawn.
If you are arguments, you are so much on the back foot here, and in terms of tempo as well, you're just bleeding pressure in that mid lane. Now, on the other side, though, Ornn, Limitless is trying to wave clear as much as you can. Still the split push coming in, and just to keep track of the plates, we do have 3 plates.
Flash on its way, following it up there, able
whoa.
to find the kill, and look at Warcry, he flashed over the wall, so he is not going to be able to follow it up, but now the onslaught of shadows will. Killer Instinct will come down, and now finally the shutdown does come through on towards Scarf Zone. That will go over to One League Moose, so able to at least respond there and get something back for themselves.
Right, the shutdown goes going on to the Kai'Sa there, so that's quite nice for you, as well as the dragon being started. Siege still coming in for the side of Vengeance Gold. They still want to knock down these plates, but it's a slow process. Here's Derive.
2v3 right now. Derive trying to see if he can use that. Does have that ultimate from the Alistar, but they're already going to be able to delete one member off the table. Looking to see if they can get 2. Here comes Arguments, trying to see if he can respond. Double kill coming out there right now for Runat. Looking for more. That should be a triple kill potentially, and it is. 3 kills come through. Actually make that 4 across the map as they kill the Ornn in the top side of the map, and now they are doing what they did in the last game, taking control, building up the snowball.
Yeah, except the difference here, Visions, is it's not even from a deficit. It's just straight up coming out of the gate swinging. The dynamic duo solo laners for Vengeance Gold come out ahead in this skirmish. They earned the dragon, as well as that top tower. Just so much of a swing. I think if you're the side of Crown Esports, you definitely want to slow this game down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you certainly need to slow this one down, because I think the lane swap actually worked out for them very well, because Munat was under a lot of pressure from Limitless in the top side of the map. Ganks coming through there. Then we see the teleport, and of all things, come through from the 80 carry at level 5 towards the top side to back up their top lane and make sure he doesn't die. It backs them off from the gank, but then we're questioning marketing like, well, they're just going to take free turret lanes down towards the bot side. But luckily enough, they're not able to get themselves the turret, which is the main thing. And now the first turret of the game actually ends up going over towards Vengeance Gold. Well, that solo gold goes over towards the Sivir and the Yuumi, and now they're start to hitting those power spikes here. The essence coming through there for the Sivir, and this is just looking so good for them as they're just taking complete control, building up the CS lead, or building up the gold lead rather. And man, they're just looking like a totally different team here from the week 1 and 2.
Oh, Derived and Scarf Zone, the dynamic duo.
Oh my god, beautiful use of the Dragon Rage there, kicking him right in. And now Warcry, you can try and get out of this one, buddy, but you know you're dead. Double kill, making that 4 kills, going over to Derive.
They just not letting up on that gas pedal, just flooring it and trying to push on through this game. And man, just play after play coming from this jungle mid duo. They just do not stop. And I gotta say, that TP level 5 from the Sivir, it looks so bizarre, but when you have your mid jungle duo playing like this, when you have Derive putting out so much impact, it just worked it out in the end. Got the dragon too, when that was supposed to be their weaker side. You have to remember, their duo was in the top side.
Yeah, that duo was in the top of there. So how does that dragon even end up going over? That really is a question. But there's something the Richter out towards the melee, looking to see if they can crack open some more of these turret planes. And I believe this might actually finish off the turret here, which will be the second turret of the game, and it will. That is a lot of gold for all of those members right now, cashing out big time as Derive is over towards the side, kind of just looking for that flank. Maybe trying to see if they can charge up on towards Shelly again, but that's gonna be OBB in some trouble. Gets chunked low, able to use the killer instinct, steals it away with the hijack, and now this could be a double, but will be a trade over towards Scarf Zone. Final chapter coming through to see if they can root anyone down. They are able to root out Arguments, but they go forward. That's a double from him. He's just diving, taking whatever he wants on towards the rift here. He's still taking up the turret, but Yuumi will be able to jump onto him to keep him alive for now. Now a second turret goes down towards the mid lane.
And you just said it, Visions. That's the story of this game. It's just the side of Vengeance Gold taking whatever they want at this point. Taking another mid tower just through sheer strength, just through sheer dive alone. They're going to reset now, and 8.5 gold at 14 minutes. That's actually nuts.
That is actually ridiculous here at this point in the game. And they don't have any turrets either for themselves, so they're not only at this deficit, but there's so much global gold that they're really just missing out from on the map, and it just becomes so difficult to play this. Everybody on the team is playing extremely well. Scarf Zone is willing to be the sacrificial lamb to go for those kicks, make those plays to secure kills, and then it leads to objectives, and that's the main thing. They're getting these kills and taking objectives, and again, they're just looking so strong, and this becomes a very difficult game if you're Crown Esports to try and stop the bleeding at this point.
Derived again.
That's
idea 0 wall. I've said his name like 10 times already, I swear.
Oh yeah,
there we go.
The stream shuffle. Push him back in, but that's gonna be OBV entering in. But buddy, I think it was a bit too late. As I see that, he's gonna use the onslaught of shadows. Knockups come through, but it's way too late. World Ender is in progress, trying to see if he can turn anything more. Limitless is going to tank up the meantime. Warcry might be the target next, but look at the back line here. The kick in towards the Kaisa. They find 3. They find the ace. We're only at the 15-minute mark, so they have 20 kills under their belt, and they're not done. They're looking for more objectives up towards the top side.
Vengeance Gold just flexing at this point, and Derived leading the charge for his team. Another tower, add that to the list. 4 towers to nothing for the side of Vengeance Gold. Pushing onto this last tower, but the death timer's just a little bit too short at this moment. I don't think they're going to be losing that tower. That's going to mean the resets going to be coming out soon for the side of Vengeance Gold. But Visions, where was the... What is this? What happened? We had to read the context coming into this series. Like, they were 0-2.
Yeah.
They got swept twice. They did not pick up a game yet in this season of UCL. To just dumpster a team like they're doing to the side of Crown Esports is just mind-boggling. What did these guys do? Did they go into like the gravity chamber? I don't remember what it's called from DBZ, but the hyperbolic time chamber. There we go. They put on the training weights or something.
They changed something. I want to know what they ate for breakfast this morning, because they are literally just playing on a whole new level right now.
Yeah,
like, this is
frosted
just
flakes, dude.
Yeah, this is man. Like, I gotta get me some frosted flakes now, because they are just so clean. Like, they are really playing on a new level. The first game obviously was a little bit back and forth, but they took control when it went to. They're playing their competition the right way. Now they're taking advantage of the early game. They're taking all the objectives, and as I say this, Argument's just gonna get kicked back here.
Oh no,
not gonna connect, but Sharpstone's gonna be able to ward hop over the wall to get himself to safety. And even though they invest the kick, it's going to be a little bit more trying to stick by Warcry, but that's going to be Scarfstone going underneath the tower. This is very aggressive. Final chapter gonna root all 4 members, and now this should just be 1 member after the other dropping. The Aatrox is looking for the crit, but OBV will trade 1 back over. Flash coming forward. Derived able to clean up the Kaisa. Looking for more, fighting up what they can. They're still tanking the turret, still doing what they can. Limitless, it's got nowhere to go. That will be the call of the Forge God, not able to follow anything up, but they're still diving forward. Derived able to take down another. They clean up 4, and it's only at the cost of Scarfstone's life.
I'm calling it, Visions. This right here. I'm tapping out for the side of Crown Esports at this point. It's just way too much play making coming out from the side of Vengeance Esports. The thing is about this, we've seen teams with leads, but to keep the gas pedal on this entire game for the side of Vengeance Goal is just phenomenal play coming out of them. There's the onslaught shadows.
Yep, used, but that's a Yumi on top of the Aatrox, able to get 1. They're going to be able to get a 2 for 1. Both those kills going over towards Arguments here, who needs to hit some of those key power spikes and some of those key items. So overall, that is going to be just getting a little bit greedy there from Munat, and they're going to be able to take advantage of that and at least get 2 kills of their own.
Hey, you know, when you get fed, when you have like a, what is this right now? I can't do math, but that looks like a 13,000 gold lead. When you have a 13,000 gold lead, maybe you just gotta have fun with it sometimes, you know? I mean, you take the next, you didn't really even feel the lead that you had, so why not have a bit of fun? In the end, sure. Munat, he goes down, but that's not even the final boss. That's Derived over there. 9, 1, and 10. 700 gold. Actually, 1,000 total will go into your pocket if you manage to take down that guy, but it's no easy feat.
Yeah, the key word there, if you're able to take down that man. That man has just been slippery the entire game, and here he is again. He's always on your screen. Shurima Shuffle going to be used. He did put up his tower to try and buy some time, but you are a low health is here with no mana, and you are in a tough situation. The Shurima Shuffle does not actually connect on anyone, but now OBV looking to connect. The rest of the team looking to back up and add the reinforcements. That's going to be the Dragon Rage used there on towards Warcry. Going forward there. Here comes the final chapter, trying to see if they can set anyone up. 1 member will go down. Scarf able to clean up the Kaisa. Looking for more underneath the turret. They find a double. That will be big for them. They take down 3 members up towards the top side, and they are just adding on towards this hurt, making it so difficult for them to come back and towards the game. And now this could be potentially the first inhibitor going down up towards the top side.
Yeah, Visions, it ain't safe no more in the Summoner's Rift for the side of Crown Esports. Just wherever they turn, they just keep getting dove upon. As now knocking on to this top inhibitor tower, you have the split push going with Moonot into the bot lane as well, and hey, why not just go for this Baron right here? It's been missing out on some attention, so Side of Vengeance Gold.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, the last couple of fights that have been going, I've just been looking towards the Baron. I'm like, oh, they're going to go Baron now. I'm like, wait, no, we just hit the 20-minute mark. They can't Baron. But now they are looking for the Baron, and it's going to be shredded. I don't think there could be any kind of contest unless OBV can come through with an onslaught of shadows over the wall and steal it. That's really their only chance, but the Call of the Forge God is going to knock up a few different members here. This is technically a 50-50, and I like this play. Just
and
back away.
Yeah.
You don't need to force it.
So smart. Do not even take the 50-50 for the Side of Vengeance Gold. They're just playing it to a T. And taking a bot lane inhibitor as well for the fact that you have... Oh, no.
Red Zone goes forward. He's going to get knocked up, but he might be in some trouble. That will be a big shutdown going over towards one leg move, but the response, the return, Fire looking for the kill. Derive able to get one. That's going to be Limitless looking for the back. He's got nowhere to go. Certainly will be another kill going over to Akami, and that will be a 2-for-2. But while all that's happening, Aatrox did get taken down on the top side, but at least did break open the base there and did put some hurt on towards that inhibitor. And as I say that, that's going to be OBV having to invest in Onslaught of Shadow just to get to safety.
And you did not lose much, if anything, if you were the Side of Vengeance Gold at this point. Just trying to put those finishing touches onto the base. They're trying to crack it open. And eventually they'll get to it, but it's just taking your sweet time, you know? Sometimes you gotta live a little vision.
You gotta live a little. You just gotta give a little bit of hope in towards the enemy team, you know, despite being this far down at the moment, like 14K, like almost 15K. That's pretty ridiculous. I actually cannot remember the last time I casted a game or even played a game where, you know, there was this big of a significant goal lead in one team's favor. But I mean, as long as they have inhibitor standing, realistically the game is still in their favor. And really the big one is the Baron. They're getting themselves the Ocean Dragon right now, which will be their third elemental drag. But you know, if they can just try, if OBV can get some kind of a miracle steal, I mean, that's really their only hope in towards this game, because they're going to be able to start setting up around this Baron. They have the split push pressure from either the Silas or the Aatrox, but if they can get a steal, Twitch, that is really the only way they can find their way back in towards this game.
Honestly, because we talked about the pick and ban draft coming out for the side of Crown Esports, and while it wasn't the best, they still do have a win condition for themselves, right? That's the fantastic scaling coming out. They have the Kai'Sa, they have the Azir, as well as that solid front line. So do have the potential tools. They are just not there at the moment, though, and that Baron could give you enough time. Let's talk about what a winning team fight looks for the side of Crown Esports. I think you have to play with a mana advantage. I think you somehow have to engage, because you have strong engage. You have the Onslaught of Shadows, Call of the Forge God. Here we go, arguments, trying to get out of this one.
Yeah, looking to see if they can find a beautiful shuffle, though, but it will be enough. It's not. The crit comes through there. The On the Hunt was just way too much movement speed for him to deal with, and they does end up dropping his turret, but I don't think it's going to matter. They're going to be able to shred through this fairly quickly, and that will be the Azir turret falling. The inhibitor is now exposed and open, so this certainly looks like it could be the kill, but they're looking for a play towards the mid lane. Able to use the Call of the Forge God, but not able to connect with the knockup. Onslaught of Shadows, but you went onto the wrong target. This is a man that can 1v2, potentially 1v3. Onslaught of Shadows finds a 4-man on top of the final chapter, and man, oh man, they take one after the other down with the ace coming out for Vengeance Gold. They wipe the floor with Crown Esports, and with that being said, they are able to secure themselves their first win in week number 3.
23.5 minutes, going for a bit more here. Might just be 24 minutes by the end of that Nexus, but overall, the side of Vengeance Gold. Game 2, it was going blow for blow, but this game, the game 1 was going blow for blow, but this game 2 just decided by the 10-minute mark. Like you said, a sweep for Vengeance Gold. They get their first win in the bracket as well, and just overall fantastic performance from them.
Oh man, that really is just got to feel so good. You know, you're at this week number 3 where you're like, all right, you know, things haven't been working, some things have been, you know, now you're at a situation where like, okay, like we found 2 compositions, you know, a bunch of different champions that are working for us. And I mean, the biggest one is obviously the Silas here. Like Derive got set behind in game number 1, but it didn't matter. He made 1 TP play bottom. He transitioned that in towards 3 kills, snowballed the game from there. This time around, it was the synergy from Scarf and Derive, able to find the 2v2, one after after the other, and they were able to build that snowball and pretty much, transition that over across the map. And that was just phenomenal plays coming up from Vengeance Gold. And you just got to give them a round of applause because they are looking like a much better team here in week number 3.
Yeah, whatever training they went through, like you said, hey, get me on that breakfast of Frosted Flakes. Again, it looked great. I gotta say though, let's just take a step back because that was a lot of domination in a short amount of time. We said they took their time. They didn't take that much time in the end. I think it was
Right.
over by around the 10-minute mark though, because at that point it was just, hey, let's just dive them over and over. Let's just take whatever we want at that point, right? I think one of the takeaways for you, if you are Crown Esports, is you really had to go back to that pick and ban, giving away top 2 solo laners, in my opinion, on this patch, and also giving Derive back his Silas that he absolutely carried on in game 1, just giving it to him again. I think you really need to go back and make sure that that pick and ban does not happen again. I mean, you take the Azir as your counter pick as well, but we've even seen at the top levels of play, teams have not been able to work with Azir. He's just a very
Mhm.
difficult champion to really play around. He's difficult when you want to play around the certain composition that he works with. You just can't because he doesn't bring a lot of early pressure. He doesn't let you dictate the game. So when you get stomped like this, sure, Azir does kind of seem not that good in the end. And the Ornn in the top lane as well. I just think it was not just the play coming out for the side of Vengeance Gold, but overall, they still played phenomenally. You got to give it up to Derive, in my opinion, like the MVP for this series,
Oh, for
because
sure.
game 1, game 2 on the Silas just absolutely changed the context of the games, just flipped the script, took them back in that game 1. This game 2 just had the game from the start in his hands and just drove it all the way home.
Yeah, I'm really excited to you see what this team is going to be able to do in the rest of the season because you sometimes you hit that week number 3, week number 4, that's where things start to take off, where you start to build that momentum win by win, start to climb your way back to the top of the rankings. And if this team can continue to put on this kind of a performance and this kind of dominance here, I mean, they are certainly going to be a team that you have to look out for in towards this Mountain League here for the UCL. But I mean, again, just a round of applause for this team. It was probably one of the funnest series I've cast in quite a long time. Just such a crazy game. So much, so many kills really going through. And I think that's the biggest time putting on a show for us here. So again, huge shout out to these guys for picking up their very first win. Vengeance Gold coming out on top, over top of Crown Esports, which they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, figure out what went wrong, and try and make those adjustments for week number 4. But for now, guys, that is going to be it for the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to week number 3 here for the Upsurge Contenders League. Make sure you guys hit that follow button on the channel so you can stay up to date for when we go live in towards the future. But for now, guys, this is going to be the broadcast team signing off. We will see you guys on the next stream.